What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Tarun's Thoughts. My name is Tarun Shetty. This is my bedroom. Hope everyone's having a good week. I'm dressed up. I'm wearing black. This is dressed up for me. I'm actually mourning my career right now. It's been a fantastic 3 months. I thought I would address the web series I'm making. Thanks so much for everyone watching it. And I was going to talk about how I went about making it. It's a collaborative effort, and I think you need collaboration anytime you do something. As much as I'd like to do it by myself, it's not the case at all. In fact, what you see on screen, like I write a script, but there's a lot of improvisation which I could never come up with. So I'm just going to break down first how I came up with the idea, and then how we put it together, and then the execution of it. Like 6 months ago, my friend was like, dude, you should join this writers group. And I was like, okay. And he's like, it's on Zoom. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let me jump on. This is gonna be, I've never really collaborated with writers and stuff. This is gonna be fun. So I jump on the Zoom call with a bunch of screenwriters, and it was the most painful 45 minutes of my life. And when I say 45 minutes, it actually went on longer, but I just quit. I can't take this anymore. It was just like everything you expect out of a Zoom writers meeting. I just couldn't take it mentally, just sitting there. I didn't say one word, but I just observed it, and I was like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen, and God help me if I don't actually make this into a web series. That's where the idea came from. And then I was like, hey, I gotta put some funny people in here. I had some ideas for characters, and here's the really important part, because I feel like I get reached out to by comedians, and they're like, hey dude, a lot of people reach out to me and they're like, we should collaborate. And I'm like, hey, cool, how do you want to collaborate? And they're like, well, you write something and put me in it. I'm like, that's not really collaboration, right? It's me just writing something for you. But so I was like, well, how can I go about doing this? And basically my mind, I know a lot of funny comedians just by trade, and I just thought, who's doing stuff? So right off the bat, this guy named Tom Clark, who's hilarious, who I've always thought was funny. This guy's always making stuff. He's always shooting stuff. He's always putting out sketches. I was like, he wants to do this stuff. He's not doing a podcast. He's making funny sketches online. Go check it out. I think Tom Clark Comedy is his Instagram page. The other girl was a comedian, Zenobia, who I met in Boston, who I saw performing on stage. And she was hilarious. And I've always had her in the back of my mind, thinking, this is a girl who's out there performing comedy. I know her voice. I saw her for 5 minutes, but I can assess comedy really quickly and just store it. I've got this weird ability where I can just remember anything to do with comedy. So I just remembered her from years ago touring in Boston. So I reached out to her and I was like, hey, can you do my web series? And she's like, yeah, I'd love to. The last girl, Jenna, was in my acting class. I took an acting class 2 years ago, and she was in it, and she was really good. And I thought she would be perfect for the part because I saw her act. But she was in an acting class, and she was working out that muscle. So I feel like you've got to be out there doing your craft, whatever that is. And hopefully, I'm not Lauren Michaels. I can put you in a web series or make something, and hopefully it'll just be cohesive. And I think it was. Oh, and by the way, the last guy, Sean, is my family friend of mine who I've known for many, many years, and he's super funny. And I've used him in a bunch of stuff, and he's come up with a lot of ideas with me, and we work really well together. And of course, the sponsor for the second episode was Jennifer Rhodes, who is a good friend of mine, and she just loved the show. As we shoot it, I write a script, and I'm like, hey, if you have any ideas, feel free to share, because I never want to be that guy who's like, dude, it's my way or the highway. No way. I have a roadmap, but if you have stuff you want to interject, please feel free to share. And for example, the last episode 2, Tom Clark was like, hey, what do you say? He goes, I wrote the line where the guy's like, I should go hang out at his middle school. And Tom was like, yeah, I'm going to dress up like a middle schooler and be like, hey, yo, you want a TikTok? He came up with that shit, And also the end song with the Matt Damon accent, I had a happy birthday song, but he actually came up with the accent, the lyrics and stuff. I couldn't do that. That's him naturally being funny. Jenna crying, throwing the phone. Zenobia, I have her do a bunch of different takes, and she gives me gold every single time. And I think there's only so much I can do as a writer and as a producer, and I'm also acting in it too. So it's hard for me to watch everything. So I have to have full trust in whoever I work with, and I think I'm really lucky finding the right people. Even Sean, he had a great idea about, checking in with him in the beginning of the episode 2, which was, fantastic. If I have any message to anybody producing your own stuff, like, obviously you write what you want to write, but like, be really observant of who's in your world, like who you interact with, your friends, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, because then you can start to like place them in different scenarios and like really elevate your project. Because basically, if I were to like be some random Hollywood guy going to like a casting office, you go through like 1,000 different actors trying to find that right fit for the person. Now I can just be like, hey, this is, the character I'm envisioning, and then have my friends, and then just kind of fine tune it so they're the perfect fit, and it just kind of all gels together. We shot it and I edited it together, and I think it works pretty well as like a short form web series, and really captures the craziness of a web series writers group. And of course myself, which is a hard time casting that, but that's pretty much how I made the web series. It's my 7th web series, so obviously I got some great advice from this guy named Daniel Espinosa back in the day, and he goes, you gotta keep making stuff and fine tuning. So as my 7th web series, and I've shot over hundreds of videos, I feel like I'm gotten pretty decent at making stuff, and I highly encourage anybody, like, if you want to make stuff, don't wait for somebody to cast you. Just go out and do it, and then just make something completely horrible. Make it. It's probably gonna suck, but you can always just improve from there and see where it goes. If you haven't watched it, check it out. It's on my Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Have a great weekend. Take care.